Okay, so it keeps on jumping that to the next slide. Okay, so within my sort of small section here, I'm going to talk about some of the smaller demonstrators or experiments that were developed, one of which on the back of SimpleSite and one of which has come after that, to answer two of the questions that were raised at the start of the project. So basically discovering IIIF content. I mean, IIIF, as most of you will probably know, the International Image Interoperability Framework, can help provide open access to a wealth of images from institutions across the world, all using the same free shared tools and services. The IIIF consortium itself provides a very nice guide, which brings together a great list of these institutions and showing how you can find the published IIIF resources. Many of these institutions actually provide well-documented APIs to allow more complex searching to find the paintings or images or objects in the collection that you're actually required for your research or your activity. Now, the thing about making use of these open APIs is they're great. There's lots of information in there, but they can be quite complex. So this is just a quick snapshot of the results from the National Gallery of Washington API, which I've used quite a lot, which is really good. But it does take a little while to learn the documentation because it is just quite a complex system. So the question is using the current data that's being provided by the National Gallery of Washington or the other institutions, can it be made easier just to get a preview of the IIIF content that's in there? So here you actually need a long URL. There is a web page to do this as well, but if you're wanting to pull the data directly to make use of and to do work with, you need to construct this big URL. And then you actually get all of this data back. You need to go through it to find the IIIF stuff, which is actually named there. You've got IIIF manifest URL and a canvas ID. So you've got some IIIF information in there and to get them out to do something with it. So the idea was to develop a simple IIIF discovery system, and it was carried out to demonstrate what could be done. So for individual institutions or across multiple collections at the same time. This work was supported by three collaborations between three different projects: the Practical IIIF project, the EU Horizon 2020 SHOCK project, and the EU Horizon 2020 Hyperion HS project. Now that is the link to the live site. It does work, it's up and running, and you can explore that in your own time afterwards. Now this is how it basically works. So you have a website where a user can have a keyword search. And this goes to a simple discovery endpoint. Now that endpoint then reformats that query into the complex query required for a given institutional API. You get the results. These custom results come back to the endpoint, which then reformats them into a simple list of IIIF resources and pushes them back to a standard viewer. So what the user sees is a keyword search and the IIIF results, even though you're making use of all of the powerful API options from the different institutions. So this is the current website. I'm not going to into the technical details of how it works. There is a lot of documentation on the web page explaining that, and we just want to sort of show how it works today. But the user interface is a simple search box with a limit and page number option and a viewer default option, either OpenSeaDragon or Mirador. And in this case, you can search across 7 different collections at the moment: the Art Institute Chicago, National Gallery of Art, Washington, the Smithsonian, Statsmuseum for Kunst in Denmark, the V&A, and the Wellcome Trust. And if you do a search for C, it returns you 187,554 objects. A lot of these are coming from the Smithsonian. And you can explore. I mean, it's just OpenSeaDragon. You can zoom in and zoom out and explore the images as you require. But OpenSeaDragon on its own doesn't tend to give you any context of what the images are and where they're from. So by clicking on the list icon on the top right, you can actually then scroll down the list and get direct connections to the individual images as required. Now, OpenSeaDragon, as I said, provides great for exploring large sets of zooming images, but it's not so good for metadata and context. Now, Mirador, another IIIF compliant viewer, provides a lot of options for metadata and context for the images. So depending on the needs of a user, the simple discovery system allows you to toggle back and forward between the two options. So you can just push on the Mirador button and you'll get the Mirador viewer, or push back to get the OpenSeaDragon. You can jump back and forth between the two. And Mirador obviously gives you the option to see all of the information about the individual objects and the images that are inside the search result. Now, the simple IIIF discovery system we did a little while ago, it was created on the back of the SimpleSite system that Anne mentioned. All of the code is up on GitHub, and there is an archive on Zenodo for people to use. And all of these links will be available in the material we upload and save on the public website at the end of the webinar. Now, the next thing I was wanting to talk about was one of the issues within the National Gallery, which is where I work, is we look to try and support exhibitions and publications with high resolution images and to provide more content for guests, visitors and users. So over the last 10 years or so, the National Gallery has been publicly presenting high resolution images to support some of these activities. These sets of images have been put together to provide additional content for exhibitions, publications, and research projects. Now, this current or old system was based on a bespoke IIP image viewer, which I built a number of years ago now. And as part of the Practical IIIF project, we wanted to upgrade that to a new system that made use of the IIIF presentation version 3 API and the new specifications. So this is the new system. This is how it looks. It's styled a lot based on Bootstrap, which is a JavaScript library, and CSS. Now, the structure of the old system was based on a hierarchical group of images and titles and descriptions of those images. And these were all stored in a MySQL database. Now, this was easily replicated using groups of IIIF manifests, which is a group of images with a title and a description and supporting metadata. These groups of manifests can then be packaged together into IIIF collections. So a IIIF collection is a selection of sub-collections or sub-manifests. So the simple system was created to allow users to explore a complex IIIF collection and then display the results in Mirador. So that's the link to the live site. I'll leave it as a title on the next few slides, so people can have a look if you'd like. But effectively what it does is it's one page of PHP that looks at the current IIIF collection or manifest, pulls out the details of titles and any metadata that's in there and displays them in a nice user-friendly simple screen. And any child resources, be they collections or manifests, are listed below. Quite similar to some of the functionality that's available in Mirador. But in this case, each of the steps have their own distinct URL. So you can reference or stop or start at any particular point in a complex IIIF collection. And you can look at them either as an interactive list shown here, and that happens when there's at least one collection in there, you get an interactive list, or a list of manifests can be dropped straight into Mirador, as you can see here. So you can then explore the images as required and as you want to and explore them. So this particular set of images was put together in relation to an exhibition on Barocci's A Lesson in Drawing. So there's quite a lot of different drawings in there in relation to one particular painting. Now, the addition is one of the things we've been doing is supporting the publications. So the National Gallery Technical Bulletin is one of the publications we produce every year, looking at the technical examination of paintings and a number of the amount of research that comes out of the National Gallery. So the old system provided you a link to where you could find a PDF of the article. So this new system actually puts it in line. So if additional metadata is added to the IIIF manifest to indicate a linked PDF, the system can then spot that and will pull in and load in the PDF directly and present it just next to the images. So in this case, you can zoom into this thumbnail as you were reading the particular article there on Reynolds painting technique. And that's worked really smoothly. Now, the system is currently optimized to exploit additional metadata in the IIIF document to define the breadcrumbs. So you can see at the top, there's a breadcrumb trail taking you from the home page right the way down to the given set of manifests you're in and all of the collections, nested collections back up to the top. And this comes from the metadata that's stored in the system. You can make the system work from any IIIF collection. It doesn't work at the moment because of the development work I was doing. But some additional work is going to be required to make that a bit more robust, to allow you to just drop any collection in there and explore it as you want. Now, the last thing I was wanting to say before I hand on is, as part of this work and a result of an interesting discussion on Slack, someone put the question is, if one has a big complex IIIF collection, is there a way to quickly preview all of the images in it without needing to go up and down all those nested collections of manifests? So the actual screenshot on the front page is from an example of how you can do that. So we built a small collection previewer. So yes, So this is the link of the previewer, and this does work with, we've tested it with a number of IIIF collections in version 2 and 3. And the ones I've used work so far, it seems pretty good. And what it does is it will load you all of the images referenced in that collection or in those manifests into OpenSeaDragon. So here you can see an example of all of the images that are actually referenced in the IIIF Collection Explorer that I've just presented there. It's about just shy of 1,500. Now, this does work quite well. It can take a little while for them to load in if you're loading in that sort of number of images. It can be a little slow. It's currently hard limited to 2,000 because things started to get a little problematic at that point. But it is possible to put larger ones in there. So future work was going to look at potentially combining this with the IIIF discovery that I mentioned at the start, the GUI, so that people might be able to have limits and pages and offsets so that you can actually work your way through larger collections of images. And I will stop there. So that's the IIIF collection preview, IIIF collection explorer, and simple IIIF discovery. Thank you.